starting with Delicate Arch. And we see this cute cabin that was built in 1906 with a grass roof.
Can you imagine living in that? Oh, there was a destruction.
Imagine living here. But imagine living here. What the heck? This is the cutest thing ever. We're on our way to Delicate Arch. We just took a little detour because we were telling stories. So we kind of are back on the path. Over here is where we are heading to. We keep wondering if we're on the right trail. Look at this beauty. Actually, for the whole thing is 7.9 miles, and it only changes 286 feet. Elevation change. We go through deep sand, some rivers, some climbing, more steep climbs. Then we will get drop-offs on both sides. So this is gonna be fun. Let's go.
Devil's Garden. I did this before a long time ago with my kids. We will be climbing up and over some rocks. Sandy. The typical Moab experience, but a longer hike. It'll take us, it says 3 to 5 hours, which means Paula and I, it'll take us 2.
Okay, here we go. Through the canyon.
And then this
Yes, this is like a mini dune. Cool. Hello.
We got money. Earned, we could invest it. Go ahead, it's your money.
Yeah.
That's how you want to use money. Awesome. Kids are my kids' age, but you know, she doesn't know.
A little swim hole. It's kind of a little dirty, but it's a natural swim hole in the middle of all these rocks. Little areas you have to crawl under this log. Here we go. And we climb up these rocks. Here they are climbing down this. But we have to climb up it. Really nothing to grab a hold of, but we are going to attempt this. We have to climb down this. And look at that, look at how cool it is. A little bit of shade on this hike. Not much, but a little. And look at this. Look at that sheer rock face. What the heck? Yeah. And you have your double arch. Double O arch. How was it? This is where we have to walk across this, and it is a cliff on either side. So we could drop down there, we could drop down here. Here we go. It's pretty scary, but we just came up that. Some people go down it. We took the way counterclockwise. Here we go. Look at how pretty this is. We are walking on these rocks, and we are coming up to not only these cliffs and cool arches and beautiful blue skies, but we're also coming up to the snowcat mountain. Look how pretty those are. Downhill. You don't know, it is a drop on either side. And here we are, we're on this essentially a natural rock bridge, and some people are like scaling the wall over here, heading down. They just scaled the wall for lunch. Look at this. We are heading down. Let's go, Chris. We are going to Navajo Arch and Partition Arch. They're just little deviations off the end of the trail. Here we go.
Going down if you keep going.
Okay. This is a replica of it. The star is where we are. And then these are all the twists and arches. But this is a replica. It's actually 1,000 times bigger than this. This is it. How did the walls form? They were once part of one flat layer of sandstone, and the forces deep underground caused the rock to bulge upward and crack in a series of roughly parallel lines. Rainwater seeped in, creating these walls called fins. Such fins may become arches. So this. First of all, the upward pressure causes the cracks, then the rainwater erodes the sandstone, widens the cracks until fins form, and sometimes it erodes to form the arch. And sometimes, like in this case on the right, the erosion will expand the opening until the arch finally falls. Okay, so we just did the best hike, well, a really amazing hike. It was incredible. But what made it interesting was that there was a lot of different scenery. There was a cool breeze, even though it was warm outside. And we had a lot of trees and greenery, but then there's a lot of red rock. And it's mostly, a lot of it is a sand trail, or like a flat rock trail. So a couple things that were hard were when the rock would slant, and then there's nothing to hold on to. And you just have to run up this rock, and there's a cliff on the other side. Sometimes a cliff on both sides. So you just have to kind of trust. There was also a part where there was this crevice, and you had to jump across as if you're jumping across a creek, but you're jumping across onto an angled rock face. So that part, there's just like mental challenges, but it made it so interesting, and the arches were beautiful, and we just loved it. I don't know if anyone's heard that. I hope not. But anyway, this structure resembles something to Chris. It shows the various layers responsible for this amazing defiance of gravity.
Slick rock member of the Antarctic.
Anyway, it's all about how it erodes. And so this on top is a slick rock member, and on the bottom is called the Dewey Bridge member. Okay.
ancestral Rocky Mountains rose. To the west of these mountains, faulting and subsidence created the Paradox Basin. Over the next 15 million years, changing sea levels filled the basin 29 times. Each time the oceans receded, salt water became trapped in the basin. The trapped water evaporated, leaving a massive deposit of salt over 5,000 feet thick. As time passed, the mountain range eroded. Vast amounts of sand, rock, and debris accumulated on top of the salt layer. Under this tremendous pressure, the softer salt beds were forced westward. When the salt encountered deep faults, it was blocked and forced upwards. Over the next 75 million years, an enormous salt wall, 2 miles high, 3 miles wide, and over 70 miles long was created. Eventually, the salt stopped flowing, and a mile-thick layer of rock was deposited over it. Then, some 60 to 70 million years ago, tectonic forces caused some of the deeper rock to bend, forming a dome. Long, parallel cracks called joints formed in this bent rock. Later, when the Colorado Plateau rose, the Colorado River and its tributaries eroded away most of this mile-thick layer of stone. When the cracks became exposed at the surface, water seeped through the joints, allowing some of the salt to dissolve. With this salt removed, the unsupported stone collapsed over time, creating Salt Valley. At the edges of Salt Valley, some of the remaining fractured rock layers continue to erode, forming thin sandstone walls called fins. These fins were slowly worn down, and sand collected between the closely spaced vertical walls. Slightly acidic rainwater combined with carbon dioxide in the air, forming carbonic acid in this trapped sand. Over time, the acid dissolved the calcium carbonate that held the sandstone together, slowly wearing away the rock until openings were formed. In other fins, an exposed layer of weaker rock lay beneath the stronger one. The weaker stone weathered first, undercutting the upper layers and creating a hole. In both cases, the weight of the overlying rock caused fracturing above the opening. Eventually, gravity pulled the loosened stone away, creating the distinctive natural arch formations. Water and time continue their relentless sculpting of this landscape, creating and transforming the natural wonders of Arches National Park.